Hello, and welcome to Talking Tent, a brand new podcast about movies, TV, and all the content we can possibly consume.
My name is Zach Hoffman.
And my name is Irma Montefusco.
We are a married couple whose love for movies and TV cannot be contained, so we've decided to share our thoughts, opinions, cheers, and occasional jeers with the world. I think movies and television have always been a huge part of both of our lives. For me, I can remember as a child going to see Jurassic Park in the movie theater and my mom yelping so loud during the scene when the velociraptor jumps out in the kitchen that we all burst out laughing in the packed movie theater. Another time early on, actually saw Titanic as a 10-year-old boy on New Year's Eve. And as any prepubescent boy of that time, seeing that movie, fell in love with Kate Winslet and wanted to be as cool as Leonardo DiCaprio. And I think both those things still might be true.
But you saw that movie on New Year's Eve?
Yes, we saw that movie on New Year's Eve. I think it was the only time we ever saw a movie on New Year's Eve that I can remember. I don't know why.
Was it just because Titanic was so enticing and you had to go?
I think it was just a big deal. I don't know why. I don't know why they chose that. I mean, we were done before midnight, of course. But it's a long movie, so probably not that much before midnight. And
cool.
I don't really remember. I just kind of remember leaving the movie theater and it being New Year's Eve.
I guess when you're 10, that's a big night. So
Oh yeah, big night. And also as late 80s babies, we kind of grew up with Blockbuster. So, lots of nights were spent going to get videos at Blockbuster. One specifically, I always remember a movie that gets kind of wrongfully hated on, I think. But we watched Hook in our den. And then after, my mom also, she went and wet her fingertips and she was just squirting little fairy dust bits all over all of us. And we were prancing around. It's a delightful memory.
That's the one with Julia Roberts, right? As a fairy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody now that the Spielberg kind of oeuvre is being rediscovered or kind of reanalyzed with Fabelmans, they put Hook near the bottom. I love Hook, but I guess, it came out at the perfect time for us as children.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one. Yeah, I mean, I definitely spent a lot of time going to Blockbuster. I mean, so growing up, my dad, he was a huge collector of VHS tapes back when VHS tapes were big, if you could ever believe it. And I was an only child. So that was just like a thing that I used to kind of keep me busy. When you're young, I guess I just didn't have many friends, as sad as that sounds. Anyway, so I would go down and like grab a video of his, and that's how I watched all of the Indiana Jones movies, and I loved those, especially Temple of Doom, which I know is such an unpopular opinion, but I swear Kate Capshaw, that first opening scene, it was just like it mesmerized me. Of course, now speaking of Steven Spielberg, that's his longtime wife. They met on that film. But yeah, like I just loved that. And so yeah, going even to Blockbuster as I got older, picking out a movie that just looked good from the cover. I mean, that was just like one of the things I always loved doing.
A big seminal event in our early lives.
I know Blockbuster, I feel like is will never die. You know what I mean? With us.
Yeah, a completely lost art of spending time actually looking. Now you just flip through I guess you can kind of simulate it with flipping through the thumbnails on Netflix, but it's not the same.
No, because Blockbuster was like a night out. It was like the thing you did. And you could spend like so much time there just looking for movies, going down all the endless aisles. It was a cool place back in the day.
Yeah, and then as a teen, we grew a little bit in movies like Fight Club, The Matrix, Usual Suspects, which we're not allowed to talk about anymore, Requiem for a Dream. I know all of those are kind of cliche movies for a guy in his mid-30s to love, but when I was introduced to them as a teenager, they had a massive impact on me and showed me all the different things that movies could be. And then, of course, so we mentioned Netflix, but early Netflix was actually just getting the movies delivered to you. And once I started doing that, I think maybe the first year of college, I know I spent an entire summer where I was just plowing through all the classics, the Godfathers, the the Lawrence of Arabias.
But yet you still had never seen Sound of Music until
It's
recently.
true. I'd never seen Sound of Music till recently, and we watched it together, and it holds up. It's a great film.
Yeah, it's good. It's so good.
And when we met in 2009, our shared love of movies and TV and all things content was an instant connector between us. I remember cycling through the DVD book you had, another thing lost to time.
All right, I
And
forgot about that. I can't believe you remember that.
It happened a lot, and we would go through the movies, and we'd go through the ones that I had never seen.
Right, because I think so another thing that would happen is going to Blockbuster is that they would always have, like, this, like, sale section that you could buy, like, DVDs for, like, a couple dollars, and I think I just, like, used to buy just random movies to have because I always used to love, like, rewatching movies.
And then we'd sit in your bed in the apartment you shared when you were still living with a roommate, and I got a brand new laptop. And since you were sharing, we'd kind of sit in the bedroom instead of in the living room, and so excited to watch movies on this brand new laptop. And I open it, and that one bright green pixel was just there from day one.
The spec.
The spec, there was nothing I can do about it. We learned to live with it, and we watched countless movies on a laptop screen, which I know many people would turn their nose up at.
No, people still do that. I feel like that's so popular right now.
Laptop screens,
Cell phones.
cell phones. I'm fine. If you're watching movies, you're doing a great job. Or TV. I'm not finicky. I guess there are certainly lots of movies that I would say you got to see it on the big screen. But you're doing the best you can. If it's in bed late at night with your phone really close to your eyes, I do it all the time. But that dang spec, it never went away. Since then, I've gotten a new laptop, and I don't watch movies on it anymore.
Just sports.
And actually, so one of our first dates,
I think it was the first date.
yeah, our first like official out.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it was Valentine's Day, I believe, and we went to go
was.
see Coraline in the Fenway movie theater
So
in Boston.
romantic.
And I just know we both loved it.
Yeah, we did.
And it's a very, it was a great tester, honestly, of you to me, because it's not like your classic film. It's odd, and it's stop motion, and it's very specific.
Tim Burton, yeah, and I feel like that wasn't it. Okay,
No, it's not Tim Burton. It's
well, it's like I guess. Yeah.
But just like an odd stop motion about just a weird girl, and we both loved it, and you loved it, and I knew from then, that night that 14 years later we'd be sitting in our shared apartment talking about it on a podcast.
Yeah, crazy.
And then on the TV side, we've talked a lot about movies, but on the TV side, we kind of grew up in what they call the television revolution. So we were a little young when technically, I believe people would say it started with The Sopranos and Oz and The Wire. So I was too young. I know I didn't watch any of those shows live. My parents watched all of them for sure. And I was definitely upstairs in my room. Did you watch any of those early HBO shows?
No, but I do remember like Sopranos being a big thing that people would like gather for on Sundays. And growing up, like we didn't have HBO; it was like way too expensive. But my neighbors did, and so I remember one Sunday. It was like I'll never forget it. We went over to their house to watch Sopranos, and I mean I can't remember how old I was, but it was definitely young, like a little. Definitely too young to be watching Sopranos. And they also had daughters, and one daughter was a little older than me, another one younger than me. And I think they would watch The Sopranos, so they like knew what to expect. And so we were all like sitting in their living room watching it. And of course, there's like nudity, profanity, you know what I mean? Just like all these things that we were probably way too young to be exposed to. And we're like, whoa. And they like, I forget what the term that they used, but they're like, cover your eyes. And so like, but it was just like, okay. Yeah. So I think that was definitely the first time I was ever exposed to that prestige TV-ness.
Right.
Or like the HBO of TV.
You also buried the lead that Tony's mother's house, right,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
around the corner from the
Down the
house that you grew up
street.
on.
Yeah, down the street.
So
Yeah.
you would see them filming?
I wouldn't. I mean, I knew it was something was happening, but I never put two and two together, and people would say like, "Oh, that's Tony's mother's house." And to me it really didn't mean anything, but I knew it was a big deal.
Yeah, and presumably it's just probably the outside. So like
Yeah,
the
it was just the
external
outside, but I think
shots.
that they would maybe go inside. And I remember they would have like the Verona Police Department. Like there was definitely like one time like that car, the police car in front of the house. I don't know why, but I remember that being a thing.
Yeah, and then it was again in college late at night. I caught up on Oz, The Wire, 6 Feet Under, which immediately became one of my favorite shows ever. And I think that theme will kind of be obvious throughout everything that I really love. And then actually, The Sopranos I didn't catch up on until much, much later.
I know I never caught up on any of those shows. I was never a person that would like to go back and watch shows. It's just such a big undertaking.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch things as they come out, but I don't know. It's definitely like a big hole in my viewing experience.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
also tough when it was such a big hoopla of how it ended, and
yeah,
everybody
like I know
knew.
how it
Yeah,
ends.
everybody knows
Absolutely.
exactly how it ended.
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, is it worth the time? Everyone was so mad, but yeah, it's great. I mean, it's great. That's
Don't
not really about
spoil
the
it,
ending.
Zach.
Yeah. And then shows like Breaking Bad, Mad Men, Lost, Justified started to fill all of my time and proved that it wasn't just HBO that was changing TV into this major medium that it is today. And back when it was relatively manageable to keep up with every great show, I would love just watching them all and then debating where all of those sat in the list of the best shows ever. When Mad Men came out or Breaking Bad came out, and it was like instantly people were talking about, is it better than The Sopranos? Is it up there with The Sopranos? Being able to easily, let's say maybe there are 15 shows that you could rank. Now it's unmanageable. But I used to love having those conversations, and I'd bring it up all the time. With anybody that would listen, be like, "Oh, you watching Justified? Because Justified is underrated." Also,
Aren't they bringing Justified back?
Justified is coming back, and we're very excited for it.
Well, what's that guy? He's on
Timothy Olyphant,
yeah, Timothy Olyphant. He was on Boba Fett
right?
and The Mandalorian. Yeah. That'll be good.
And that brings us to literal tens of thousands of hours of movies, TV, plays, musicals, books, and music that we've consumed together. Brings us to today. A happily married couple spending our time in our living room or in a movie theater, doing our best to keep up with the ever-flowing stream of content. Every day we ask each other, what do you want to watch? And once a week, for now, we will hop on these mics and talk about all the tent we've consumed that week.
Before the pandemic, I would say we were watching a lot more movies, at least in theaters, than we are now. We would go, at least once a week
Yeah, we're
to see
getting
a
back
new
to
movie. No, I know. I want to get back to it. I loved it. I just wish a movie theater was closer to us, but that's a whole different conversation. But the pandemic really did let us catch up on a lot of things, which was kind of fun. Like, I don't think we were a little late to Succession. We were a little late to that, and then we caught up, and now it's like obviously one of our favorite shows. Can't wait for it to come back.
Yeah, don't worry. Never again will we let a show like that slip.
Yeah.
For our listeners.
No, never again will we let an
caught up.
HBO show go unwatched.
So for the next 4 episodes, we'll start by going back to last year and talk about our favorite movies and TV shows from 2022. And then we'll do the exciting part of looking forward to what's coming in 2023. And there's a lot. So tell everyone you know, young and old, tent positive and tent negative, movie lovers, or someone you think needs a gentle nudge to watch all the great stuff out there, that you've got a wonderful new podcast that you think they'd enjoy, hosted by 2 lovely people. Yay. Subscribe so you know every time we post an episode. Follow us on Twitter at Talkin Tent, no G. And feel free to email us at talkintent@gmail.com. From our living room to yours, what do you want to watch?
See you next time.